Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new KeyForge video, and in today's video we will be looking at some new Geistoid cards in the new set Grim Reminders. And I know I haven't posted in a long time, however I'm ready to get back at it with this new set. And this looks like a good one, because this set has so many good cards in it that it just looks absolutely insane. Not only am I saying this just from seeing all the spoilers, but I also say this because I was able to play against some Grim Reminders decks, and they are so cool. So, we're gonna start it off with a Geistoid card, Boo. This action card reads, play, discard the top 10 cards of a player's deck. And you may be thinking, this is absolutely crazy, I can discard 10 cards of my opponent's deck. While that is true and will be really good for early game discarding, you can also do it to yourself. And while this may sound like a bad idea at first, there are a couple of reasons why you would want to do this. For one, you are discarding all these cards, meaning that any scrap abilities that come up will be triggered. And you're discarding 10 cards, which then will make you haunted. And a lot of cards in Grim Reminders play off of being haunted. This will definitely be on my list to look out for, considering it's even a common, so you could get multiples of this card. Moving on, we have another Geistoid card called Boiler, and it reads, destroyed, deal 6 damage to each enemy flank creature. Scrap, deal 1 damage to each enemy creature. I thought this was a pretty fun Geistoid card, considering if it's destroyed, you can deal a lot of damage to your enemy flank creatures, which, if your opponent doesn't have that many creatures out, this may be a good option. But if your opponent has a lot of creatures out there, and especially if they're low power, then you could just deal 1 damage by discarding the card. Moving on to a Geistoid artifact, we have Curse of Forgetfulness, and it has Treachery, which means it is played under your opponent's control, and it reads, at the end of your turn, purge the top card in your discard pile. This is going to be a super fun card to play against your opponent, because they're going to have to be really careful of which card is in their discard pile last at the end of their turn. Moving on to one of the only upgrades in Geistoid, we have Animating Force, and it reads, this upgrade enters play attached to an artifact instead of a creature. Play, take control of this artifact and put it on a flank of your battle line as a creature with 4 power and versatile. Scrap, gain 1 ember. This will be a super interesting card, considering it keeps all of its Reap, Fight, or Action, or even Omni abilities, and yet it still will be able to be used in each house that you call, and it's now a creature in your battle line. The possibilities to this card is absolutely endless, as you could pick any artifact that your opponent may have, and there are so many artifacts that it is hard to keep track of what would be good and what would be bad. So if you guys have any ideas, let me know down in the comments. Moving on, we have another action card, Future is Past, and it reads, play, swap each player's deck with their discard pile, shuffle each player's deck. This is a very interesting card, but pretty self-explanatory. It is a very simple card that will switch your discard pile with your deck pile, which will be very interesting to see how this plays out and how this can be used to your advantage and potentially to your opponent's disadvantage. Because I could see a lot of potential from looking at their discard pile and their Archon card before playing this card. Overall, this will be a very interesting card to play against and to play with. Next up, we have a fun creature, Caspara, and it is one of the only creatures to have X power. And in this case, X is the combined total of Ember between each player's pool. And it also reads, each friendly Geistoid creature gains play destroyed, each player gains 1 ember. This will be a very interesting card, and I'm not entirely sure how it will play out, because I could see a very powerful creature here, but I'm not really entirely sure what you would do with it. So if you guys have any ideas, once again, let me know down in the comments. But I do think this is a really cool card, especially since it has, quote, X power. Next up, we have an artifact, Cursed Tomb. When I first saw this, I thought it was close to Cursed Relic because of the enhancements, but sadly, it's not. But it does look like a good card. It reads, each creature with no ember on it gains destroyed, purge this creature. If there are no creatures in play, purge Cursed Tomb, and it enhances 2 capture pips and a discard pip. This card will be very interesting considering it's almost like a really slow board wipe. But I do see the potential if you have a good deck with lots of capture in it. This will be very interesting, especially to have in some sort of pod in Alliance. Now, moving away from Geistoid, we have a previous anomaly, the Grim Reaper. While I'm pretty sure that this card will be in Geistoid, I cannot be certain because of the fact that the spoilers put it as just a Maverick, which is kind of weird. But it reads, if you are haunted, the Grim Reaper enters play ready. And it also reads, after Reap, purge an enemy creature and a friendly creature. I had to add this card as it was a previous anomaly that was one of my first ever anomalies in the game of KeyForge. It is a pretty fun card, and it will be very interesting if you can keep it out there for a long period of time and keep purging those cards. This card will be super fun to actually have in a set, not as an anomaly. Moving on to some other houses, we have an artifact in Ecodon that reads, action, take another turn after this one. Your opponent draws 10 cards. Purge this card. This is a stupidly overpowered card, and it'll be very interesting to have in certain decks. And this is especially because it gives you the chance to forge after your turn, which is very interesting and will definitely be very weird. And while your opponent does draw 10 cards, the potential for this card is absolutely endless. And it'll be very interesting to see what people can do in 2 turns instead of just 1. And the last card I have is an unfathomable card, Arcane Transmitter. And this is a very interesting card that I actually got to play against. And I found it very interesting and very overpowered, because it reads, action, discard the top 4 cards of any player's deck. Scrap, shuffle your discard pile into your deck. Not only can you just discard it to shuffle your discard pile back into your hand, but you can also consistently use its action to discard 4 cards off of your opponent's deck. You can also do this on your deck so that you can become haunted or something else that you decide to play off of it. This card is definitely an interesting one, especially since it's one of the only artifacts that is a common, so once again, you'll be getting multiple of these in certain decks. And it also has a bonus Ember Pip, so this will be a very fun and interesting card to see where it goes. So that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments which card was your favorite and what card you look forward to using the most. Once again, I thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.